Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that affects thousands of homeowners every single year, streamlining your Bell County property taxes. Look, if you own property, you know this annual chore is just inevitable. But how you handle it? That absolutely doesn't have to be a headache. We're going to break down exactly how you can take control of this whole process digitally, saving yourself time, money, and honestly, a whole lot of stress. Let me ask you, are you tired of standing in long lines or worrying about missing deadlines for your property taxes? What if you could handle it all online from the absolute comfort of your home? Let's be real, nobody actually enjoys dealing with tax payments. And doing it the traditional way, driving down to the county office, fighting for parking, waiting in a physical line, it just kind of adds insult to injury, right? But by digitizing this process, you gain immediate convenience, it's super easy to use, and most importantly, you get instant confirmation that your legal obligations are totally met. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at the structured tutorial we're about to cover. First, understanding Bell County taxes. Second, prep and payment options. Third, our step-by-step online guide. Fourth, your rights and responsibilities. And finally, pitfalls, fixes, and benefits. Section 1, Understanding Bell County Taxes. Why these payments matter. Before we even talk about how to pay, we really need to know what we are funding. And this brilliantly illustrates how your tax bill is actually split up. When you write that big check for your county taxes, Bell County itself is really only keeping about 16% of that money to fund things like roads, courts, and the sheriff's department. The lion's share, roughly 50 to 55%, is actually going directly to your local independent school district to fund teacher salaries and facilities. Another 25 to 30% goes to your city, so Killeen, Temple, or Belton, for police, fire, and parks. And that final, smaller slice, that goes to special districts for things like water and emergency services. The Bell County Tax Appraisal District is basically just acting as the central collector for all these different buckets, which is great for us because it means you only have to make one single unified payment. Section 2, Prep and Payment Options. Getting ready and choosing how to pay. So, to get started with your preparation, you don't need a mountain of paperwork. You really just need your property account number, your physical address, or even just the owner's name. But before you log in, you need to decide exactly how you want to fund this payment, because your choice has a huge and direct impact on your wallet. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive difference in convenience fees. The county uses a third-party vendor to process online payments, and those processing fees are passed directly to you. If you just use a standard credit or debit card, you get hit with a 2.15% fee. Think about that. On a typical $5,000 tax bill, that's over $100 just for the privilege of using plastic. No way. A Visa debit card is slightly better at 1%, but there is a much, much better third option, the electronic check or e-check. 50 cents. That is the ultimate strategic tip for you today. By choosing to pay via e-check online, which honestly just means typing in your bank account and routing number, you pay a flat fee of exactly 50 cents. And that's regardless of how large your tax bill is. It is absolutely the most cost-effective way to pay straight from your couch, saving you a ton compared to those high card percentages without having to drive down to the office. Section 3, Step-by-Step Online Guide. Navigating the Bell CAD portal. Let's move to and see how this builds as we walk through the exact actionable steps to make a payment. Step 1, just open up your web browser and go to bellscount.org. Click on Property Search right up in the top menu and enter your name, address, or property ID. Step 2, once your property pops up in the results, you're going to see a very clear Pay Taxes button right next to it. Just click that and it adds your tax bill to a virtual shopping cart. Step 3, review your cart, make sure the amount looks right, and hit Checkout. This is going to redirect you to that secure third-party payment gateway we talked about, where you'll punch in your e-check details. And finally, Step 4, once the payment goes through, the screen will generate an alphanumeric confirmation number. Save this number. Seriously, take a screenshot, write it down, print the page, whatever works for you. Under the system's rules, this confirmation number is your legally binding proof of payment. Now, I do want to make a quick but really important distinction here. While you make your actual payment by searching on the main bellcad.org site, the county also offers a dedicated taxpayer portal, and that's over at portal.bellcad.org. This separate portal is basically your digital hub for broader, year-round property management. It's where you'd go to opt into electronic statements instead of waiting around for paper mail, where you can review official documents, and where you would actually file an online protest if you happen to disagree with your home's appraised value. Section 4. Your rights and responsibilities. Deadlines and exemptions. Okay, so the entire Texas property tax system is built on an uncompromising statutory timeline. Basically, avoiding massive financial penalties is entirely about timing. So let's urgently walk through this timeline together because missing these dates is incredibly costly. In October, the tax bills are finalized and mailed out. You then have until January 31st to make your payment in full. January 31st is the absolute hard deadline. If you wake up on February 1st and you haven't paid, your account is immediately flagged as delinquent and boom, you are instantly hit with a 7% penalty and interest charge. And it doesn't stop there. That penalty continues to climb every single month until July, when a whopping 20% collection fee gets tacked on. Also, definitely keep your eyes on May 15th. That's your deadline to file a valuation protest if you think the county got your home's value wrong. But look, with responsibilities come rights, and you absolutely must claim them. If the property is your primary residence, you have the right to a homestead exemption. And guys, this knocks a massive $140,000 off your taxable value for the school district portion. Let that sink in for a second. Plus, if you're over 65 or have a qualifying disability, you get an extra $60,000 reduction on top of that. And even better, those qualifying over 65 or disabled residents have the right to sign up for quarterly installment payments. This is a total lifesaver. It breaks the tax bill up into 4 manageable chunks. But remember, you have to apply for this installment plan before that January 31st deadline.
Section 5. Pitfalls, Fixes, and Benefits. Avoiding mistakes and securing peace of mind.
Navigating this system digitally is super easy, but only if you avoid the traps that routinely cost your neighbors hundreds of dollars. So the crucial point is avoiding these 5 common pitfalls, which are the absolute most expensive mistakes taxpayers make here. First, missing that May 15th protest deadline locks in your home's value for the entire year. If you think it's too high, you really have to speak up early. Second, forgetting to file your homestead exemption is literally leaving money on the table. It's by far the easiest way to drastically lower your bill. Third, carelessly using a credit card and eating a 2.15% fee when a 50-cent e-check was right there. Fourth, brushing right past that January 31st deadline and getting slapped with an immediate 7% penalty. And finally, ignoring your appraisal notice when it arrives in the mail. Look, the appraisers don't go inside your home. They're just using exterior data. If they get it wrong, it is entirely on you to log into the portal and get it fixed. Ultimately, the real overarching value of this digital system is about you taking control. By moving your tax duties online, you get an immediate, legally binding confirmation number. You completely avoid physical lines. You can check your balance at any time of the year, and you secure your own peace of mind knowing the job is done right, it's done efficiently, and it's done cheaply. So will you take control of your property taxes from your couch this year?
Just as a quick reminder, this explainer is intended for informational purposes only. Tax codes and county procedures can occasionally shift, so always double-check the latest procedures, exact deadlines, and current payment fee options directly on the official Bell County Tax Office website for any updates or changes to your personal situation. Thank you so much for joining me today, and here's to a completely stress-free tax season.